On October 9th, 2020, on a bright and sunny day in Dallas, Texas, just after 7:30 a.m., Jamie Faith and his wife Jennifer were heading out with their dog Maggie for their morning walk. They had just celebrated their 15th anniversary the night before. While on this walk, a gunman in a hoodie would walk up to Jamie and shoot Jamie 7 times. The gunman would duct tape Jennifer's hands together and steal her rings, but before he could do much more damage, he was interrupted by her neighbors. Maggie, the dog, terrified, would run away as Jennifer would drop to the ground screaming. Jamie wouldn't survive his wounds and would die in a pool of his own blood in the driveway. The gunman in the hoodie would retreat and evade capture in a black pickup truck. Hello, strangers and strangelings. Welcome back to another true crime story time. Today's story has some of the most wild twists and turns I've ever heard, so you'll definitely want to stick around for this one. But before we get into today's story, if you like strange true crime and storytelling, then this is the place to be, here with me, JP. So kick back, grab a drink and a snack, and make sure to tip that like button. Join that SBG family by subscribing and hitting that notification bell to make sure you're getting notified when I release a weekly video. All right, let's go. So who would want to kill Jamie and why? I know what you're thinking. The wife did it, right? Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. But you know what? If it's one thing about this channel, there's gotta be some crazy twist or some kind of turn to it. So make sure you guys stick around for this one. By all accounts, Jamie was a nice guy. He was described by friends as the sweetest guy ever. He was widely adored. He worked as a IT director for American Airlines and made a good amount of money. So much money that his wife Jennifer didn't have to work. She was a stay-at-home mom full-time. And before meeting his wife Jennifer, he considered himself a bachelor for life. He never wanted to get married, and he also never wanted to have children, and he was very adamant about it. But again, like I said, this would change once he met Jennifer. So about 15 years before that tragic day in October, Jennifer and Jamie met on a blind date. Shortly after that, the two were inseparable. Jennifer had a daughter named Amber from a previous relationship, and all of Jamie's rules went out the window. He absolutely loved Jennifer and Amber so much. He would marry Jennifer and adopt Amber and raise her as his own daughter. The Faiths seemed to be the perfect family, you know. Neighbors would tell stories of, how kind the Faiths were. They would allow the neighborhood children to use their backyard pool anytime they wanted. They would even give out the keys to their backyard just so the neighbors could come and go as they pleased. Unfortunately, this all changed on October 9th, 2020. So let's dig into this case a little bit here. So again, around 7:30 a.m. on October 9th, Jamie and Jennifer left for their routine morning walk with their dog. Jamie was shot a total of 7 times, 3 shots in the chest, 3 shots in the head, and 1 shot in the groin area. It seemed overly aggressive and personal. The gunman then turned to Jennifer as Jamie lay dead in the driveway, and he would duct tape her hands together. The gunman would also steal her rings, punch her, and then slam her to the ground. The gunman was wearing a hoodie and had a mask on, so Jennifer couldn't see his face. Surveillance footage from one of the neighbor's security cameras showed the gunman fleeing in a black truck with a T sticker in the window. A T, like a Texas Rangers logo. So you have a Texas Rangers logo on a black pickup truck in the land of pickup trucks. This is going to be a tough one. It's going to be like finding a needle in a haystack. Jennifer would reach out to family and friends on social media, asking everyone to look for the black truck with the T logo. As detectives were looking for leads, Jamie's family would hold funeral services for him. Jennifer would be so distraught that she couldn't speak at the funeral. The community really rallied around Jennifer and her daughter Amber. They started a GoFundMe in their name and raised over $60,000 for Jennifer and Amber. The community really came out for them during their time of need. As time went on, Jennifer became increasingly frustrated with detectives over the lack of answers. Little did Jennifer know, the police may have already found a person of interest. As it turned out, there were more murders occurring in northern Texas. Authorities believe they had a serial killer on the loose. This serial killer was going around shooting people at random, and in one instance, the serial killer shot someone 9 times, which is kind of similar to what happened to Jamie. Jennifer believed it could be related to Jamie's case, but detectives didn't really believe this whole alleged serial killer theory. The detectives were actually chasing a lead over 650 miles away in Tennessee. Police began surveying this person's home and found a black Nissan Titan pickup truck with a T sticker in the back window. So maybe that T wasn't for Texas, it was for Tennessee, possibly. And at this time, detectives didn't tell anyone what they found. Jennifer, still frustrated with the investigation, decided to go on a campaign speaking on various news channels to find Jamie's killer. She would plead for people to be on the lookout for the black pickup truck. 8 days after Jennifer goes live on TV pleading for help finding the black pickup truck, detectives surveying that suspect in Tennessee discovered that the T sticker would suddenly disappear from the suspect's black pickup truck. They also pulled up the suspect's cell phone records. Those records placed him at the scene of the crime, actually. That suspect? Well, his name is Darrin Lopez, a father of 3 daughters and a highly trained military veteran, a Green Beret actually, trained to kill. Police didn't want to go in there guns blazing to arrest this man because it could be deadly, so they devised a plan. They did not want to stand off with a Green Beret. The police decided to pull the suspect over on a traffic stop by local law enforcement. At the time of the traffic stop, one of Darrin's daughters was actually driving. She was visibly shaken at the time they got pulled over, while Darrin was strangely calm for some reason. And surprisingly, Darrin Lopez didn't resist arrest. Police took him to an interview room where he was interviewed by Dallas, Texas detectives. You're probably asking, who the hell is Darrin Lopez? And what's the connection between him and Jennifer Faith? Well, it turns out Darrin Lopez was an old boyfriend and prom date from high school from over 20 years ago. So let's go back 7 months before the murder took place. During the beginning of the pandemic, Jennifer gets an email from Darrin Lopez, an old high school sweetheart she hasn't seen in over 20 years. They begin catching up and sending emails back and forth. But little did they both know, this little exchange would basically be the ending of Jamie. The emails turned into text messages and quickly became super inappropriate, like some nasty, freaky, dirty talk, like a Cardi B song or something. Like they both just immediately expressed how they just wanted to sleep with each other and all the nasty stuff that they wanted to do to each other, but just like in a way that was super colorful and just stomach hurting and just make you sick and ugh. It's almost like they picked up where they left off as teenagers. Just 10 days after the initial email, they would express their love to each other. Jennifer would even send a text to a friend of hers that she found the love of her life and she is having a full-blown emotional affair. Now remember that piece for later. And now it was said that they were texting and messaging each other an average about 500 times a day. So you know where this is headed. Like, you know where this is headed, but you don't know where this is headed. Unless you heard this story before, you really don't know where this is headed. A month after they began messaging, Jennifer would express to Darrin the problems in her marriage. She told Darrin about all the abuse that she receives from Jamie. Jennifer would say that Jamie wasn't this super nice guy, that Jamie had everybody fooled. He was mean and abusive and gave her nightmares. Darrin would actually receive an email from Jamie telling Darrin to stay away from his family. The email said he just doesn't want them messaging anymore because their relationship was wildly inappropriate, like super crazy inappropriate. So I understand. The emails were so nasty and dirty you could smell them. Ugh. Darrin responded by email stating he was not going to stay away from Jennifer because Jamie frightens her and gives her nightmares. Darrin made it clear that he would continue to be a confidant and vowed to keep Jennifer safe no matter what. But as the emails continued, things just got darker and darker. Jamie sent an email back to Darrin, and in this email, Jamie said, "If you don't leave my wife alone, I will harm her. I will forcibly sleep with her, and I will lend her out to other men forcibly sleep with her as well. Jamie would go on to describe how she would beg for the assault to stop. The emails also included pictures of bruises on Jennifer's body. Jamie even sent an email of a picture of Jennifer with a bloodied up lip. The email seemed to be taunting Darrin. It was like Jamie was trying to pick a fight with him. Darrin was, of course, upset and wanted to call the police, but Jennifer convinced him not to, basically out of fear and embarrassment, which is not uncommon in a domestic abuse type of situation. But Darrin was insistent on getting Jennifer some sort of help. Jennifer suggested that Darrin speak to her friend Rob Schmidt to see if he could help in some type of way. Darrin did just that and began emailing Rob about Jennifer and Jamie's domestic abuse situation. Darrin would ask Rob in an email, is there anything we could do to help? He was just so worried, and Rob expressed, he could always pop in and check in on Jennifer when needed to make sure that she was safe. And Darrin expressed that, he wouldn't feel better until he could get Jennifer out of that house of horrors, or until he could put a bullet in Jamie's head. He told Rob that he keeps offering to kill Jamie, but Jennifer keeps declining. LOL. And that's what it said in the email, LOL. Surprisingly, Rob would write back and agree with Darrin. He says, I would go with your idea, LOL. A bullet in the head? Hell, I'll give you an alibi if you do it. Obviously, this was all a joke, right? Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. Darrin would email Rob daily, giving Rob details of the abuse that Jamie was inflicting on Jennifer almost daily. Rob would respond back saying he would check in on Jennifer. Darrin was grateful for Rob checking in on Jennifer, but meanwhile the emails just kept coming in from Jamie, taunting Darrin. He would tell Darrin how exhausted Jennifer was from being rented out to all these different men from all over town, and how she would just beg and plead every night to be let go. And in August of 2020, Jennifer calls Darrin and tells him that things have gotten so violent and so bad that she just cannot take it anymore, and she wants Darrin to kill Jamie. And it was around this time that Jennifer would turn GPS tracking on through an app on her phone that Darrin had access to. He could track Jamie and Jennifer's every movement, because basically Jennifer went wherever Jamie went. So wherever Jennifer was, there was Jamie. And this was also around the same time that Darrin would announce to his daughters that he would be out of town for a hunting trip. The day before Jamie's murder was the Faith's 15-year anniversary. So on one hand, you have Jennifer and Jamie, they're planning their anniversary. And on the other hand, you have Jennifer, who's planning her husband of 15 years, his murder, with her high school boyfriend, basically. And like I mentioned before, Jennifer and Darrin would exchange messages about 500 plus times a day. The night before Jamie's murder, all communication goes silent. And like I mentioned before, Darrin lived over 650 miles away in Tennessee. So that means in order for Darrin to murder Jamie, he would need to drive approximately a little over 11 hours to get to Texas, which means he made a lot of pit stops. Filling his gas tank, buying food. I mean, the weirdo even stopped for an oil change at one point. Like, this dude does not play around when it comes to vehicle maintenance. Like, he's hitting all those important dates. And keep in mind, all of this was on camera, and he left a huge paper trail from Tennessee to Texas. Like, the police were actually able to track him from Tennessee to Texas pretty much all on camera. They can see when he stopped at gas stations, he bought snacks, he's bought drinks. When he went to the ATM, he pulled out $100 for gas. The whole shebang. They tracked it all. He also used Google Maps and entered Jennifer and Jamie's address into his GPS app. Like, I'm not making this up. This guy's a moron just for no apparent reason. He's leaving evidence everywhere. And on the day of the murder, Darrin Lopez arrived at around 2 in the morning, and he's actually caught on camera in the neighbor's backyard, and he just kind of ducks down and lays there waiting all night to ambush Jamie the next morning. The next morning, Jamie and Jennifer walk down the street like they normally do with their dog Maggie. This is when Darrin makes his move. Now think about this. This is the first time Jennifer and Jamie met each other in person in more than 2 decades. Since high school. And I bet Darrin was disappointed. Like, I'm not trying to be rude here, but shit, she killed her husband. This this chick looks like a straight up linebacker. Let's be honest here. Like, homie ruined his life over some emails and some old high school pictures. And did I mention Darrin had a TBI, a traumatic brain injury? So maybe there's some judgment issues in play here. And if you look back at the videos of Jennifer crying, it's so bizarre because I can't lie, she almost had me fooled. Like, someone give this nutball the award for best nutball because she was crying like a 5-year-old dropping her ice cream in the sand. Like, she was turning on the acting juices, man. Anyway, back to the story. Like I repeated a ton of times, Darrin shoots Jamie 7 times. He proceeds to duct tape Jennifer's hands and probably almost dumb busts in his pants because this is the first time he even touched Jennifer in 20 years, and he's so damn in love with her for some reason. It's insane. Anyway, he steals her rings. The neighbors come, he jumps in his truck, and he flees. And while driving away, this is the detail I didn't tell you at the beginning. While driving away from the scene of the crime, he proceeds to grab the wedding ring he took off Jennifer and throws it out the window. I know what you guys are asking. How did the police put 2 and 2 together, and how did they figure it all out? Well, on the day of the actual murder, the police asked to see Jennifer's phone. Jennifer was more than happy to give police her phone because she studied. She deleted all the text messages between her and Darrin, but she messed up because she's an idiot, of course. She forgot to delete the messages that she sent to her friend detailing about her emotional affair with Darrin. Plus, anyone that knows anything about computer forensics, they will tell you nothing is ever actually really deleted, right? So they would have found it anyway. Once the police found out that she was having an affair with Darrin, they were able to look through her phone contacts, and all of Darrin's details were listed. First and last name, phone number, address. Probably even said he was legally blind because this dude ruined his life for a Mucinex booger. And again, I'm getting off topic here, but people are horrible people. Darrin was arrested during a traffic stop, like I mentioned. Police obtained a search warrant and would go through Darrin's phone. Now, Jennifer deleted all the messages on her phone, but Darrin did not. Jennifer forgot to tell him to delete the evidence. Every text message and phone call was all there. Jennifer was busted and could no longer deny her role in her husband's death. Jennifer was arrested and charged with obstruction, but I think we all seen that coming, right? There's no shock here that Jennifer was involved in this, right? But that's not the plot twist. There's a little more to this. Police then discover the emails between Jamie, Darrin, and Rob. It turns out the emails from Rob Schmidt were not in fact from Rob. They were from Jennifer. Rob is a real person now, but the email address that she was using was totally fake and made up. Jennifer was just pretending to be Rob in some sort of attempt to convince Darrin to kill Jamie for all the horrible things that he had done to her. But except that's not actually even true either. Jamie didn't do any of those horrible things that Jennifer accused him of doing. Jamie actually was this sweet, kind-hearted man that everyone knew him to be. So yes, the emails from Jamie were also fake. Those emails were from Jennifer pretending to be Jamie in order to make Darrin mad, in order to manipulate him into murdering Jennifer's husband, Jamie. The pictures she included in Jamie's fake emails to Darrin were all taken from a car accident and were stock photos. Now, Jennifer would be charged with murder for hire. All of her friends just felt betrayed because they were lied to. They just couldn't believe she would make this whole story up to kill Jamie. Like, why just not divorce him? And apparently, Jamie was more valuable dead than alive to Jennifer. And now back to Darrin here. Darrin did not believe the news that Jennifer made it all up. He was so busy hating Jamie that he just couldn't see Jennifer lying to him. He eventually came to terms and laid the whole thing out for detectives and just detailed from the beginning to end all the conversations with Jennifer and why he killed Jamie and everything. He didn't even deny it. He pretty much admitted up front that he did it. Now, Jennifer Faith took a plea deal and was sentenced to life in prison. As part of the plea deal, the death penalty was taken off the table. Darrin was convicted in the murder of Jamie Faith and was sentenced to 62 years in prison. And I also just want to talk about some other details. that just make me angry. Days after Jamie was murdered, she began telling her family and friends about how they don't have money now, that Jamie's gone and, they're financially ruined and blah, 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 paying bills, that whole thing. So her friends and family started a GoFundMe and raised over $60,000 for them. She also started trying to acquire Jamie's retirement funds and Jamie's over $600,000 life insurance policy. She was told by the insurance company that she couldn't access the funds because of the pending murder investigation. So, soon after that, she was withdrawing money from the GoFundMe and she is sending money to Darrin. She's sending him credit cards with these high spending limits, all in her name. She buys him a big screen TV and, sends him plane tickets for Darrin and his daughters. And just to be clear here, Darrin's daughters didn't appear to know anything about this murder for hire plot. Neither did Amber, Jennifer's daughter. And GoFundMe would ultimately refund all the money that was donated to the Jennifer Faith Widow Fund. Now, I personally don't think Jennifer actually loved Darrin and was just using him to get rid of her husband, because why would you manipulate someone you so-called loved so much? Like, why would you set him up? Why would you put him in that situation? I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think Darrin's brain injury is a mitigating factor in all of this? Do you think that brain injury allowed him to be manipulated a lot easier? Do you think him being a veteran is a mitigating factor? I mean, because there's plenty of veterans who come back and don't commit these type of crimes. But I don't know, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. But if you guys are new to my channel, make sure you guys subscribe, join that SBG family, hit that like button, and watch some more of my videos. I got a lot of interesting true crimes, story time videos out there for you. I got some stuff you guys probably never heard before. This is a higher publicized case here, so I'm sure a lot of you guys probably heard this one, but I do have some more obscure stories. So make sure you guys subscribe and go check those stories out as well. So be good, be safe,